Is this real life right now? We are back at it again. This has easily become my favorite series on this channel at the moment because this is where you guys get to be featured in a most amazing top 10 video. If you guys are new to this series, all of the stories I'm about to talk about were submitted by you guys in the comment section below. So if you want to be a part of the next most amazing top 10 video, make sure you guys leave a scary story in the comment section below and also subscribe to the channel. And just reminding you guys, we finally have most amazing merch. You guys can check it out in the link down below. And if you guys use promo code MA10 when you guys check out on the online store, we're going to give you guys $5 off of your purchase. We work super hard to get these prices as cheap as possible for you guys, and we're giving you an additional $5 off. Alright, let's jump right into this video. This is the top 10 scary stories ever told that might be real, part 10. If you guys missed part 9, you guys can click right over here. So starting off this list at number 10, well, we have a story from XXXEmoXXX. When I was about 13 or 14, my mom and I lived in Lake Elsinore, California. I had trouble getting to sleep one night, and when I finally did get to sleep, I had this effed up dream. In my dream, I was laying down on my living room couch, which is where I actually was, and a strange feeling came over me. There was this man that walked through the front door of my house, and I don't mean the man opened the door, he literally passed through the door itself. He saw me laying down sleeping and proceeded to reach for my throat. Once his hand had made contact with my throat, I felt the immense amount of pressure he had used to try to strangle me. At that point, I felt a hand reach out of nowhere, grab me by my shoulders, and pull me away from the man that was trying to strangle me. At that point, I woke up and I looked by my front door, which is where the man was. And I saw the same man, but with glowing yellow eyes. The only thing I can do after seeing that was run to my room and sit against my bedroom door and hope the man was just a figment of my imagination, but I'm not too sure. I usually have trouble sleeping every night, but not because of a man who's trying to choke me to death. But yeah, maybe all of that wasn't a dream because, like you said, you woke up and you still saw the man with yellow eyes looking at you. So I typed into Google man with yellow eyes, and this is what came up. Pretty damn terrifying. We have another scary sleep paralysis story at number 9. This story comes from Tecmo. I used to have sleep paralysis all the time. My eyes were always closed when I had them, but I always felt a presence there. I got so used to them, I really just found it a nuisance and really annoying. So in my head, I'll just be like, not this again, while I struggle to move. There was even one time where I was on a road trip and I was sleeping in the back of a van when it happened there too, which was weird because it was daylight and I could hear everyone talking in the van. During that time, I still felt as if Chucky was right next to me. What stopped this paralysis is when I joined the army and started working out more. You know what? That's really odd. Maybe it does have something to do with your health. So do unhealthy people have sleep paralysis only? I don't know. I'm no doctor. Or maybe you just grew out of it. A lot of people have asked or has left a comment of their sleep paralysis in the videos. They had these experiences when they were very young. I know I had it when I was younger and maybe a few times here and there throughout my adulthood. I don't really remember too much. Moving into number 8, this story is from Lauren Parton. Ever since we moved into my new house, we feel like we are being watched. Lights and fans will turn on by themselves, and sometimes we even see a lady in the hallway. We had a giant flashlight that turned on by itself when we asked for a sign that someone was here jokingly, but the light wouldn't turn off. The second we walked into my mother's room, it immediately turned off. We thought that it was the end of paranormal activity until my sister, Kaylee, walked into the hallway and was going into her room. My room being right next to hers, I expected her to be going into it considering my door slung open. I looked back to see my lights turn on when it was off. Before then the door closed. I asked her, what is she doing in my room? And she replied from her room, I don't know what you mean, I'm with my boyfriend in my room. Ever since then we hear giggling from her room and then old-timey music. We never expected this when we moved here. Now everywhere in the house and even outside where we stand in front of the windows, we have a feeling that someone is watching us. And when we asked our new neighbors about it, well, they told us that an old lady named Miss Thomas died in that room 4 years before we lived here. And ever since then, we started talking about an old lady and an old man in a black hat that seems angry all the time looking at us. I think as soon as you moved in, I would have kept up that for sale sign so you can use it for yourself and try to sell it right away. because obviously something is going down in that house. Also, do you guys think that, you know, a part of that house package, you know, the information about the cost of the house, square footage, how many rooms, bathrooms, it should also include, you know, anyone that's died in the house? Because a lot of people believe in ghosts, demons, spirits, and who knows, this old lady who was grumpy, maybe she has a vengeance. Alright, the feeling of not being able to move, speak, or even breathe is up next to number 7. This story comes from Kaylee Holloman. About a year ago in my old house, I was asleep, and in my dream, a big black shadow scratched me on my arm. I woke up unable to open my eyes, breathe, move, or speak out loud. And I felt like someone holding me down by my mouth. I then said, "This is my house, leave me alone," in my mind, which at the time I thought it was cringy until I was finally able to catch my breath again. When I looked around, my lights were off, but when I went to sleep the night before, my lights were on, so I passed out with my lights on. And that's because I had a feeling down my back and also as if something was watching me. I got up and ran to the light switch and turned it on. And when I looked in the mirror right beside my door, there was a scratch on my arm where I saw it happen in the dream. And although when I woke up, it felt like morning, it was still pitch black outside of my window with bright smoky white eyes looking through my window blinking. I just crawled back into my bed shaking. I've seen many ghosts in my life, but this one was terrifying. I'll never step foot inside of that house again. Yeah, I don't blame you on that one. I would never step foot back inside that house again. And you know what? Good luck to the people currently living there. Maybe they were able to bring in a priest to, you know, bless the house. Alright, number 6. Do you guys want to play a game? Okay, I know I'd be way too scared to play a game, but this next story comes from Beth Bergstrom. Okay, so I can see ghosts. Well, not all the time. I usually see them at the most random times, but something happened that creeped me out. So a few months ago, my brother went on a trip with his friends. My brother is 9, and I think his friend is 7 or 8. So when he came back, him and his friend were playing a little bit. It was around 8 p.m. My brother and his friend were in the living room, and I was in my bedroom. When I was watching a video, I heard my brother's friend's voice right next to me ask, "Wanna play?" So I was freaking out and confused. I looked all around my room and then I looked at my door. There was a figure standing at the door. I should mention a young boy died around my age in one of the rooms in the apartment I live in. Anyways, I stared at the figure for about a minute and it disappeared. I ran to my family and my brother's friend and asked them if he asked me to play with them, and they all said no. So yeah, I believe the boy died in my room and is one of many paranormal things that have happened to me. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. We need full disclosure. Well, I guess you kind of knew that a little boy had died in one of the rooms in your apartment, but did you know this before getting the apartment? And yes, I think you did see the boy who passed away. I wonder if anyone is brave enough to say, yes, I want to play a game, and then see what happens next. Number 5, the story comes from Big Daddy Sam. Hi Landon, I absolutely love the channel. I watch it every time I get a notification. Anyways, do I have a scary story for you? When I was about 16 years old, my family was going on vacation for a weekend. Unfortunately, I was not able to go because I had to work. We have had activities before, like chairs rocking by themselves and footsteps when no one was home, but nothing compared to what happened this day. It was the day after my family had left and I had just gotten home from work. It was about 6 o'clock at night and I was sitting in my living room watching TV. Now this was before cell phones were readily available and we had 2 phone lines in our house, one in the kitchen and one in my bedroom. As I'm watching TV, the phone in the kitchen rings, so I get up to answer it. I say, hello, hello, hello 3 times with nothing but the sound of breathing on the line. So I finally said, I can hear you. I know you're there. If you don't answer, I'm hanging up. It's still the same response, just breathing. So I hung up and the next thing I hear is the phone upstairs in my room slammed down on the receiver. And I took off to my neighbor's house and had him come over with me to check the house. We go upstairs to my room and the phone is dangling from the receiver. We continue to check out the house and there was no one. Needless to say, I didn't stay there that weekend. I stayed at my friend's house. That is absolutely terrifying, and I think the scariest part of this story is the fact that cell phones were not readily available. I just can't imagine a scarier time, and I guess it's scary when chairs and stuff are rocking on its own, and who the heck is up in your bedroom on the phone? Clearly the phone's hanging there and someone was in there. I would board up your windows and put security cameras everywhere. And thank you so much for submitting in that scary story. Moving into number 4, this scary story comes from Eden Petrosky. I have sleep paralysis pretty often, but I can't even open my eyes. I'm pretty glad for that bit since I don't have to deal with visual hallucination. Sometimes I feel a presence though. It's all been more annoying than scary. I can hear everything, but the most I can get out of is a tiny groan or mumble. So when I was young and my dad or aunt would wake me up for school in the morning, I'd wake up in sleep paralysis to one of them calling out for me. I'd finally break out of it when either my dad banged so hard on the door that it shook the walls. I mean, your dad's banging pretty hard. Or when my aunt would give me a little nudge. These days, it's my son screaming at me to get me up. He's not quite old enough yet to understand that I need him to tap me on the shoulder or something. Okay, are you like currently still having these sleep paralysis? Like, it's so scary. And when I used to have them, I don't even know if my eyes were open or if they were closed. But I know for sure I was able to see like visuals. Like I was dreaming while trying to get up and trying to move. And it's frustrating to say the least, and pretty scary as well. Because in that moment you're thinking like, what is going on? Number 3, hey Top 10 hosts, my name is Brittany. I have an interesting story. Hope this appears in the video. Tell me what you think. Well, I think it's safe to say that your story is about to appear in the video. Let's get started with it. I was in the 11th grade, she was in the 10th, and I was having a sleepover at my friend. She said that in the middle of the night, in dead sleep, that I just shot up, looked at my bedroom door, and said, "They're coming," and then just calmly laid back down. This seemed to scare her awake. She told me the next morning while we were getting ready for school. She said that was the scariest thing that has ever happened that week that she was staying over. My mom told her that I sleep and talk and not to think much of it. And my wife also talks in her sleep, and it couldn't be more terrifying. She would actually have full-on conversations with me, and I would talk to her, and then in the morning I would remind her of that conversation, and she has no idea what I'm talking about. One time my wife was actually yelling, "There are dogs coming, there are dogs coming." She literally jumped out of the bed screaming that, and then went back to bed. I kid you not, it's a true story. It was scary. She doesn't remember it, obviously. She was sleep talking, but there's nothing scarier than that night. I thought I was gonna get eaten alive by dogs. A best friend saving your life is up next at number 2. This person is very lucky to be alive, and thanks so much for sending in the story. Thank you to every single one of you guys who have submitted a story. Don't forget, you could be a part of the next video. All you have to do is comment a story in the comment section below. This story comes from Yinia Zachary. My scary story. Not paranormal, but it was still scary. I had 2 friends who lived in my neighborhood, Amber and Ashley. I was upset that day and wanted to talk to them about it. I took off on my bike without my helmet. I know that was dumb. Anyway, my shoes both came untied, they wrapped around the pedals, and I crashed in the road. I thought that I could drag myself to the sidewalk, then I heard and saw a black car speeding in my direction. I screamed and prayed. Out of nowhere, Amber grabbed me, yanking me onto the sidewalk. The car popped to my tire as it sped away. The driver honked their horn just a second before he would have hit me. They did not stop. I know Amber saved my life that day. I think that real stories like this one are the scariest because in a flash, your life could have ended. I mean, what is more terrifying than that? I remember I had a few that I would call, flash moments, meaning I could have died, like in an instance. Once I was around 7 or 8 years old, I was breaking ice in a creek. It was somewhat close to where I lived at the time, and I actually fell through the ice. It was very deep. I thought it was shallow. I was swept under the ice. My buddy Daniel King broke the ice and got me out. I lost the boot, but I had so much adrenaline. This was during the winter time. Well, obviously there's ice. But I was able to run so far to the closest bakery. I say the closest, but it wasn't that close. And the reason why I chose a bakery was because I knew that it was somewhere where I could warm up. They have ovens and stuff like that. But during those seconds, I thought I was a goner. Finally, number 1, we have a very scary story from Holly Anderson. So this is something that happened around the time that I was 6, maybe 7. 24/7, but me and my sisters used to share a room. We have this house in Liebenberg where every night I would wake up and see this girl named Emma. She used to tell me to watch out for a man until one day I woke up and she led me to this old bridge. Later I saw someone push her off. After that it started for months. My mom thought that we should move because of how terrified I was of my old house. The night we were supposed to move, I woke up to dark shadow people surrounding me in my sister's bed. I screamed and my mom ran up too. To this day, she won't go near the house. After 3 months ago, we found an article on an 8-year-old named Emma who was kidnapped in 1943. There was a picture and it was the girl who I kept seeing as a kid. If this is a true story, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely terrifying. I don't really have much to say. So you're saying that for some reason, you actually followed this ghost girl named Emma and she took you to a bridge where she was killed? Do you think that maybe you only followed her in your dreams, or did you actually physically go to this bridge and you saw this ghost girl Emma jump off? Like she was telling you like, this is how I died. Maybe she was pushed off the bridge. Well, there you guys have it. I'm officially freaked out. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you all in the next most amazing top 10 video.